Thank you for staying with us here at Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. You can get all of the pensions on there. Champion News and family taxpayers have been reporting these things for 15 years, and you want to see what some of our Illinois problems are. Now, during the break, Vincent Romano, who's our special guest today, we were discussing Illinois going bankrupt and what they're planning to do and how they're going to actually try and change this back to the townships and things. Let's discuss that a little bit, Vincent.
One of the things I've been reading up on or hearing is the state can't go bankrupt. But if they push it back down to the school district level, the local taxing body, well, now they have to be responsible for all these pensions coming up. People's property taxes are going to double and triple. But I've also heard that the local school districts can claim insolvency. So now you can renegotiate those contracts, kind of like if a company goes bankrupt, well, if the school district goes bankrupt, now those contracts, which are guaranteed in the Constitution, could possibly be renegotiated.
So you'd have to shift it all over to the local level, and then have local taxpayers put pressure on the teachers and the unions to renegotiate their contracts at a lower level.
Now they're going to realize those local taxing bodies, the citizens of that, aren't responsible for those pensions. These school boards can give out these contracts and these pensions. They're not responsible for it. It goes down to the state. It's bringing it back to the people who made these contracts with the teachers, how much they have to pay. When you say a student gets $16,000 or a school has $16,000 per student, that's not money just spent on the student. That goes to teacher salaries, benefits. I know in 219 they spend over 50% of their money on salaries and benefits. So out of that 16,000, less than 8 goes to the students. And I mean, there's less than that because there's also building maintenance and some other things. But if that's what the Democrats are trying to do, I mean, citizens are going to be in a world of hurt having these tax bills come up and then everything get negotiated. That's going to be a real tough time. And you want to cripple the housing market.
Well, folks are already complaining, going out walking
Look at what you've
precincts.
got right now is your local property taxes. 60% of that is just K-12 education, and 80% of that is salaries. So now you're going to run this pension thing back in there.
But your housing value,
what the state's talking about is bankrupting the whole bloody state.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
elderly people are not affording their property taxes. They could afford, they set themselves up with these escalating property taxes. They never budgeted for such high rates.
Now I need to ask Vincent a question too, because there are some counties that have PTLs, property tax limits.
Right.
Now where those limits are in place, the districts would be screwed.
Right.
Unless they lift those limits, then the property tax, or the property tax payers would be
These
screwed.
bandits at the state level
I mean, this would
have been
be
taking the teachers' dues and turning it into all kinds of political mischief, not only for the pensions, but for everything else. They take roughly $1,000 a year from each of the teachers. They take $135 million a year from teachers' dues. 80% of that is nothing but politics. It's proven in the Beck decision at the Supreme Court level. And so they're taking these millions of dollars and they're turning it into political power for the Democrats. We got to realize that Madigan and his ilk, they have bankrupted the state. It is them. They deserve to be chased out of office. You got to get rid of these people. Do it in November.
Elections have consequences, and we need to elect good, fiscal sound people that actually have the fiscal knowledge of business. You're an entrepreneur. You're in the finance industry. You offer a complete dichotomy to your opponent, who's an attorney and nonetheless a union kind of embedded attorney.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, people have to realize we need to take out the Chicago machine that's been controlling the state.
Well, Cook County has its own
Let me get into that. We're going to be off this program shortly, but we've just had an election that brought in Aaron Del Mar as the guy that's now going to be the chairman of the Republican Party in all of Cook County. This was done in a dingy tavern under very little light on the south side of Halsted Street. This is the GOP, the grand old party, was in one of the, well, I don't want to criticize bars too much, but it hardly rises to the standard of any kind of dignity for the GOP to go in and do that. And what does it do? By a bunch of manipulation, it puts this Del Mar guy in. Well, he's a businessman. His business is putting on gambling and girly parties, supposedly with no money being exchanged, which would be illegal. But is there anything about why this guy has been pushed in with a lot of money and the fact that they're trying to get more casinos in Chicago? So we get Aaron Del Mar, a youngish, twice divorced or maybe only once divorced, whatever his personal life is. I don't hear good reports, but we get an inexperienced young guy in a dingy place suddenly appearing because of some of these people that are still within the Republican Party in Chicago area. We got to get these klutzes out of there and get Cook County running under the same rules that affect the rest of the state of Illinois. Crook County has got special rules that make it very difficult for Republicans to clean up their own party. We've got to clean up Crook County, and Aaron Del Mar is not the guy to do it, and the twits that voted him in there, they deserve to go as well. There's Republicans that aren't acting like good Republicans.
Girls and gambling. Del Mar's chief client is probably the Democratic Party.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with girls, and there's nothing wrong with maybe legal gambling. I don't know. It doesn't, you know what, originally here in Illinois, how many gambling licenses were given? 7, 9?
Nine. There were 10 authorized, and 9 were issued, and there's quite a story about that, which I've been following.